Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie. And we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Hey, welcome to Movie Friends. I'm here with my friend Seth Vargas, who has a schedule to stardom.
And I'm here with my friend Michelle Rubenstein, whose fortune cookie last night said, "Give it up, you loser."
I would love to receive that fortune.
I know, right?
Just any kind of message from the universe would be nice.
Right.
Yeah,
Hey, we had a big week.
we did. We got to hang out.
We did. We officially became a legal entity.
We are bonded now. That's exciting.
Very exciting. Yeah. We
Yeah.
went and saw your accountant.
Yep. We did legal
And
things.
We promised her we would do an episode on Walk the Line. So I'm going to try to get that. Now I'm
Slated.
chomping at the bit. Oh, I want to make her happy. What else? What else did we do? We filmed a funny video.
We did. That was really fun.
Jelly Seth.
Jelly Seth is a new
Taking the internet by storm.
character in the Movie Friends universe. I need more Jelly Seth.
Also, in our haste, I said the title of a film wrong. Instead of Midnight Cowboy, I said Urban Cowboy, which several people have pointed out.
No way. So I saw that comment and I thought it was just a reference to, like, I had no idea what any of that meant. And I didn't even actually look it up. I just was going off of you.
Hey.
Actually, that's kind of funny, though, for the character of Walking Seth.
So it is. Walking Seth doesn't even know what movie it is.
If you're curious what video we're talking about, head to our Instagram, What's Your Go-To Movie, and you'll see the reel.
Hey, and next week, we got our live show, Peabody, Massachusetts.
Yep.
We're talking about Don't Let the River Beast Get Ya. Sunday, May 25th, 1 p.m. If you're interested in coming, let us know. We would love to see you there. Should be fun.
You like French fries?
This is a whole French fry act, folks.
Come on down.
Hey, another big thing that happened. Speaking of an urban cowboy, I happened to be in New York City at the same time as our friends Betsy and Trent, who host the podcast Never Seen It with Betsy and Trent, and I got to hang out with them.
I'm so jealous. My schedule just did not align with going to hang out with them, but I'm glad you got to meet them.
Yeah, I messaged them that morning. I was like, hey, you in the city? Because I am.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it, though.
Sometimes, yeah. Not with me, though. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I don't really prefer that either, but when it works out, it's nice.
When it works out, it's nice. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, we also got an email.
Email.
Now, this email was submitted to us through our website. We have a contact us form that people can fill out. We also have a listener survey. If anyone's interested.
Take it.
Yeah, please. And so this email, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they wrote in to talk about the episodes we did on Clown in a Cornfield, which is a movie that I watched, and Cinema Paradiso. So I'm just going to read a few different sections here. The email says, thanks for the episode. I discovered Cinema Paradiso thanks to you guys, and I wish I could talk about it. It's so good. I've heard of it my entire life and never watched it. I have reasons. Foreign language films tend to get lost on me, and the runtime. I started your episode on it and had to watch it. I'm glad I did. It was tough making it through the director's cut, but the feels made it worth it. I had to be in the mood for it, and your show got me there. A good movie lingers like this, especially if just thinking and writing about it can elicit emotions. It's a special movie. It felt alive. All of the patrons felt alive. You just are drawn into this world. By the way, my second episode of yours, I had listened to the Clown in the Cornfield episode shortly before I started this one, which got me to watch the movie. I'm listening to your episode about Cinema Paradiso. And that email's from Phil.
Phil, thank you so much.
This was like such a great email to get
Yeah.
because there was a lot of behind the scenes difficulties with that clown in the cornfield episode. And so the fact that like that led to someone watching Cinema Paradiso, I can't imagine a better outcome for that experience.
It makes my heart want to explode because we waited so long to do Cinema Paradiso. It is one of your favorite movies, and you always say like your hope and what you love is when if someone were to discover our show and watch a movie because we talked about it or we're going
Yeah.
to talk about it.
Yeah.
And for this to happen for this movie, wow, hard eyes.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Phil,
Thank you,
for
Phil.
writing in. And Phil and I emailed back and forth a few times. So
Hey,
maybe
Phil,
we
if you're listening, sorry to cut you off, Seth. I would love to know what Phil's favorite movie is.
Oh, okay.
So that's a call to action to you, Phil.
Phil writes in once and you already put him to work.
I can't help it.
Welcome to Movie Friends, Phil.
Welcome to Movie Friends. Yeah. Actually, on that note, quick story. And I
Sure.
don't want to go too much on a side tangent, but I feel like sometimes I come off too hot and too strong. This has happened to me a couple of times in my life where I'll be at a party and I'm talking to someone and I think like we're really hitting it off
Oh,
and like
sure.
really talking. And then the next time you see them, you get nothing from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then this recently happened. I was at my friend Sam, who you guys, if you're listened before and if you're new to the show, my friend Sam, her debut book came out and she had a launch party for it. Anyway, so I was talking to this person and like for like 20 minutes about music and movies and art. And he works at a local coffee shop. And on Sunday, he was at the register and I was like, oh, hi, just like that. And like nothing.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, me? Oh, and I didn't press it. And then I was just like, I think sometimes I just come off too excited and too hot. Or maybe they don't remember me. But like,
Well,
I
okay.
don't
Can
know
I ask you a
about
quick
that.
question?
Yeah.
Now, you're a fashionable person. You're wearing the always take the banana shirt right now. He met book launch Michelle. Okay, so I'm assuming book launch Michelle was done up.
Yeah.
Hair, jumpsuit.
Skirt and top. But like
Okay.
my face was the same.
So, but my question is was Sunday morning coffee Michelle rolled out of bed wearing a big burrito hoodie? You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Maybe he didn't recognize you.
Maybe. I mean, that's a really, I don't know how much my face could change.
Remember one time, so Michelle and I record, we can see each other on our cameras. And one time Michelle came on camera. I was like, you look really tired. And she was like,
Oh, I remember that stuff. I think about it often, actually.
I can't remember what you even said, but you were like, I did my makeup different, or I don't know.
No,
Something.
I got a facial and they're like, don't wear makeup. And
Yeah.
so like my face was kind of red and flushed. And Seth was like, wow, you look tired. Why do you look so different? I'm like, thank you so much for commenting on me not wearing makeup today, Seth.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I'm good for.
To make your friend feel good.
That's what I'm good for.
Yeah. Anyway, so Phil, if I'm coming on too strongly, I apologize. I can't help it. I just get excited with like good conversation, you know?
Yeah,
I
do
know you
know. And
know.
I am the same person. Like,
I know.
I will go to a party and I'm talking to somebody and I'm like, you're moving in 3 weeks? Well, I'll help you move. Do you have a hand truck? I can bring one. What time do you want me to be there? 5 a.m?
You like pizza? Pineapple
Yeah.
or pepperoni?
Hey. Like I'm the same exact way. So I get it. And I've been there many a time where it was like, oh, that was a one-sided interest.
That is so beautifully put. It was one-sided interest.
Mm-hmm. But who cares? I'm not going to stop being that way.
No, I can't help. Like I can't help it.
Yeah.
It just naturally. I feel like my fingertips sometimes just give off glitter. You know.
Yeah.
And then
What's up with the shirt, though? I do want to. What? I'm not to bring it back to. Michelle is currently wearing a shirt that just says "Always take the banana" with a half-peeled banana on it.
This was a t-shirt design think this is like 3 years old maybe at this point, from Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
Busy and Casey St. Ange, yes, yes, yes. They
Okay.
talked about, like, you should always take the banana if it's offered to you because you never know if you're gonna be hungry later.
Sure.
It's one of my favorite T-shirts, and I always get asked about it,
Yeah.
which I forget that I'm wearing it. So I'm like, "Wait, why are you staring at my shirt?"
Right. All right. Well,
Anyway, we're talking about Cats Don't Dance from
we are.
1997 today. But before we get into that, we are going to guess and write down what we think the other one is going to rate this movie. And this year, we're competing for pickles.
I got to go to a new page in my notebook. That's how many guesses I've made so far. And you know what? I'm going to start a new thing. Since it's a new page, I'm turning over a new page. I'm opening a new leaf. I'm going to write down the movie name above my guess so that I can look back on it and be like, oh, that's what I guessed. All right, so I wrote down my title and I wrote down my rating. I am locked in.
I am also locked in. All right. Cats don't dance. Here we
Or
go.
do they?
Or do they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people had a lot to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like this title. But this movie was directed by Mark Dindal, screenplay by Robert Sganaway, Cliff Ruby, Alana Lesser, and Teresa Pettendill, cinematography by Rob Main, composed by Steve Goldstein and Randy Newman. Special shout out to Gene Kelly for contributing as choreographer.
Oh, yeah.
Edited by Dan Molina, art director Brian McEntee.
Yep.
Starring Scott Bakula, Jasmine Guy, Natalie Cole, Ashley Peldon, Lindsay Ridgway, Kathy Najimy, and John Rhys Davies. Seth, take our summary away.
Absolutely. In 1930s Hollywood, an optimistic cat named Danny dreams of stardom. But when he discovers the industry doesn't take animals seriously, he inspires his new group of friends to change the script. With determination and dance moves, Danny sets out to prove that talent can't be silenced, and it's time to get rid of the narrative that cats don't dance.
Very nice. I was going to request if you could sing it.
In
In 1930s
I don't know why I did a
Hollywood.
ghost voice.
I got sing-songing and you're going haunted.
Ooh, in 1930s Hollywood. Of course it's a ghost. Everyone back then was dead.
True.
Or is dead. Yeah.
True,
Anyway.
true. Wow. Well,
This is your pick.
this is my pick. I can't take credit for it. As I talked about last week, this really was inspired from friend of the show and in real life friend, Emily.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I chose it. It's been years and years and years and years and years and years and years since I've rewatched this movie. What is your connection to Cats Don't Dance? Because you said you've seen this before.
Yeah, I just watched this last year, I think, for the first time. Never saw this as a kid. And I think that I wouldn't have appreciated it
Yeah.
as a kid. I was
Yeah.
actually kind of glad that I had never seen it so that I could watch it now. Not that it's not a good kids movie, because it is, and I watched it with my kids and they enjoyed it. But being able to recognize all of the references and also the whole theme of like racism basically that's happening here,
Yeah.
I was able to appreciate it as an adult way, way more.
So funny you say that because I watched this as a kid. It wasn't one of my favorites. This came out in 97.
Mhm.
And so I was 10.
Yeah,
And the same year, Hercules came out, Anastasia. And then in December, it was Titanic. And Titanic took over my world.
sure.
Like, I was obsessed, saw that movie like 10 times in the theater, owned all three. What was it? It was on VHS. There was like,
Yeah.
3 VHSs to the whole movie. So this wasn't really one that I reached for, but when I was reading people's comments on this, a lot of things that I saw was that one, like you, watching it as an adult, they appreciate it more and understand what, the hidden themes and then the fact that it's taking place during 1930s Hollywood, but that if you watch this as a kid, that would be lost on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know if maybe this just, again, lends to when you watch it. But growing up, like I said last week, I watched Gone with the Wind.
Sure,
I
sure.
watched a lot of Shirley Temple movies. Also, this feels very much like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So,
Right.
I mean, obviously, it's hard to remember how I felt as a kid, but I didn't really relate to what I was reading about that.
Yeah, right, right, right.
So you went on some deep dives with this one. And like we always say, we usually don't talk about the movie before we get on to record about it. But I'm so curious what you have found and like if we can compare notes on the background of this movie.
Yeah, well, if you don't listen to this show very often, one of the things that Michelle and I really try to stick to is the film itself, because a lot of film podcasts, I feel, kind of get stuck in the like polygons, 20 things you never knew about cats don't dance. And it just kind of ends there. And I feel like as people who are watching movies, we should be able to talk about the content of the film. And of course, there are things outside of, the cells of animation that change how we feel about a movie. But I want to talk about a movie. I want to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, I went so far into Turner Animation, Turner Pictures, Ted Turner, WB, Cartoon Network, Boomerang,
Oh, wow.
MGM, Turner Classic Movies, the Time Warner AOL merger, all of this stuff, because when the movie started, it said, Turner Animation. And I was like, I wonder what that is.
Well, I mean, I did the same thing and only to learn that this and the Page Master
Yeah.
were the only films under this little
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah. So Ted Turner, first of all, not a great person.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to get that out of the way so that no one thinks that everything that I'm about to say, I'm like, wow, this is amazing, right? But Ted Turner is one of the individuals who has really shaped a lot of modern media and a lot of media that you and I would have like grown up with. Number one, he invents CNN, 24-hour news network, which changed news and really media. Number two, he starts out with his dad's business, which was advertising, billboards. From billboards, he's like, we should own radio stations because that's advertising too. He buys a radio station and changes the sign. Is it a call sign? The station letters
You mean
to
like the W?
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
to something like WTCG, which stood for Watch This Channel Grow. From there, he's like, oh, we should really own TV stations.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I should own the Atlanta Braves. And then he's like, I should own. And so everything that he's buying is kind of like, to him, it's like, well, I own this one thing. So it makes sense to own this other thing because they'll all help each other. So then, all right, well, now I own these TV show stations. So what am I going to put on them? And so he starts purchasing just like all of this, what we would call nowadays IP, intellectual property. And he's buying up old movies, and he's buying so much stuff that he's like creating television networks to host this stuff. So he creates Cartoon Network, and he creates TNT, TBS, TCM is a really big one for movie lovers. Like movie lovers love Turner Classic Movies because they've been pretty instrumental in a lot of film curation and preservation, and they're committed to like playing a movie in its original format without commercial interruption and film education. So like Turner Classic Movies is really, really important. But in addition to wanting to just showcase old stuff, they're like, we should be making new stuff as well. And around this time of the late 80s, early 90s, Disney is hitting its renaissance. And you and I talked a lot about DreamWorks and
Yep.
the creation of DreamWorks, literally being like a reaction to the Disney machine. And they set everything up to be like, we are anti-Disney. And of course, they set out to make serious, important films. You get the Prince of Egypt, and then you get Shrek. And when Shrek took off, all of that important historical stuff, they were like, we're not doing this anymore. we're the Shrek company now. So with Turner Animation, like you said, Page Master, and then this, it's really interesting, like learning more about Ted Turner. He went to school he decided to do his master's, I believe, in like classic literature. And so it's not that he directed or conceptualized the Page Master, but the first project that they do is about a little boy who's afraid of the world and learns to overcome his fear through classic literature and like engaging like literally with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Treasure Island, all of these classics. And then Turner has been so important in keeping old Hollywood movies alive in like the American consciousness that the second movie that they make is about 1930s Hollywood.
Yeah.
So that's very, very interesting. Now, Turner was like also an absolute madman, and he just did a lot of risky, wild stuff. He had to sell back a lot of things, companies, IP that he had purchased because he's overextended themselves, whatever. And so towards the end of Cats Don't Dance, WB purchases Turner Animation. And the conspiracy theory is that they did not promote this because they wanted to squash it because they were doing their own thing.
Right.
And they
Right.
wanted their own projects to be, even though they owned Cats Don't, that's all, corporate, whatever. But yeah, really fascinating. And I'm probably going to watch this documentary based on his autobiography called Call Me Ted. I'm probably going to get into that. He was married to Jane Fonda.
Oh, yeah. Everything you're talking about just brought me back to my first year of intro to broadcasting.
Oh, yeah? Did they talk about Turner a lot?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was quizzed on him. And as you're saying, I was like, oh my God, this is all coming back. And I'm sitting through your TED talk right now. And
Mm-hmm.
just
Literally.
like, yeah, literally, I
A
know.
Ted Turner talk.
That's right. I feel like I'm back in class and the Atlanta Braves. Like, I specifically
Mm-hmm.
remember that fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was a wild, wild dude. I mean, he's still
Yeah.
alive,
Yeah.
right? The other thing in not just learning about Ted Turner, but Turner Animation, they used Cats Don't Dance as advertising to assemble this like new crew of animators. And there's an image that I sent to you, and it's just a sketch of Darla Dimple. And they were using that to recruit out of like college
Yeah.
animators and artists and saying like, hey, come join this thing. And I found this quote from David Kirshner, who's a producer. People have said that An American Tail was the beginning of the golden age of animation. Until that point, it was the highest grossing animated feature outside of Disney ever. With Cats Don't Dance, I really want to do another musical of that kind. And in reading an interview with different animators who worked on the movie, they all kind of just drop, oh, and by the way, we want to do something that Disney wasn't doing.
Yeah.
Like there seems to be this chip on the shoulder of everyone at that time who wasn't working for Disney, that doing anything outside of the Disney model was like an act of defiance and creation because it wasn't the main thing at the time.
I mean, I kind of can get behind that understanding.
Yeah.
You see your competitor and you want to do something completely different and you're turned off from that. Also,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I couldn't get hired there. So
That's also totally possible.
I'm curious, upon all your research, did you come across, and I don't know if this is a fact because I only found it on one resource, but the
Mm-hmm.
original idea for this movie was supposed to be with Michael Jackson to produce and star in it. It was
Yeah,
gonna be a
Michael
hybrid
Jackson.
film of live action, kind of like Space Jam.
I did see that, and I saw that a few places.
Oh, you
So I do
did?
believe
Okay.
that that's true. Yes. He had to drop out due to scheduling issues,
Mm.
was what they said. But yeah, Michael Jackson had an interest in doing more than just being a pop star. Like his music videos were real, full on, well made productions. I mean, Scorsese did at least Bad. I'm not sure if he did any other. I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. I believe Michael Jackson said he wanted his music videos to be like short films.
Yeah, yeah.
Michael Jackson wanted to play Spider-Man at one point. So he had an interest in, expanding beyond just being like the king of pop. And I can totally see how he would fit in the story of a kid from somewhere else, and he comes to Hollywood and he wants to be a big star, and he's dancing and singing.
They were going to be anthropomorphic stray cats instead.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That hung around the studio.
Yep.
So we still had cats on the mind.
Right. Well,
Just,
cats don't dance.
well, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good title.
Yeah.
And you mentioned people online are not happy about that.
Well, people are so. I mean, we laugh about it every week when we read our letterboxd reviews, but so many of the reviews, I'm like, I can't even take this serious. They're just like, they do dance though. What a bad title. Cats actually do dance, but they ended up dancing. Why is it called Cats Don't Dance? I'm like, what is this
Because
for real right now?
because that's the situation that they find themselves in, where the Hollywood system is saying cats don't sing and dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to talk about our characters.
Of course.
So we'll start off with Danny.
Mm-hmm.
He's our main player here. He's ambitious. He's bright-eyed. He moves from Indiana to Hollywood to sing and dance and be a star. I love the contrast of animation between him and our other cat Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you took that into account while watching. Because if you watch other animated films that usually have animals in them, like if you 101 Dalmatians, right? They're all Dalmatians. Maybe some are bigger or smaller. The Aristocats, Thomas O'Malley and Marie and Duchess, they all look the same. They're all drawn pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
But Danny and Sawyer are drawn very differently.
Interesting.
Did you notice that at all, shape-wise?
No, not really.
Like Danny, I mean, even his body shape, like he's obviously these cats and all the animals are walking on two instead of four.
Right.
But he's slender and he's got this big grin and he's very expressive, and Sawyer, she's got a fluffy tail and she's got smaller features and more delicate. Anyway, talk to me about Danny.
Well, Danny, if you pull up a picture of Danny, the header on Letterboxd is a really good example.
Mm-hmm.
The header photo that they have where he's talking to Pudge the penguin.
Mm-hmm.
If you squint your eyes, it is literally Mickey Mouse.
Yes, yes, the Mickey grin.
The Mickey tongue.
Yeah.
The shape of his face. I mean, it's pretty astounding that they got away with this.
I know, and people have come up with these theories, which obviously, I mean, who knows if this was thought of, but Sawyer, you can play into the fact that she looks like Marie grown up. Marie is the little white kitten in the Aristocats, and she wanted to make it big because, they sing and dance in the Aristocats, and so even though this came out in it could be the same character, and she went to Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know there were fan theories.
Yes.
Cats Don't Dance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Danny. It's the very classic, like, showing up. It's kind of like Mulholland Drive, just showing up with my bags and hoping to make it big because I'm going to be a star, right? He mentions that he's from Kokomo,
Indiana,
which I know from the Beach Boys song.
That's how we all know it, right?
Well, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And I always thought that Kokomo was like a tropical place. It's not. There is no Kokomo other than Kokomo, Indiana.
That's so funny. I also only thought that it was a tropical place, And I was like,
Yeah. So,
oh, this movie's just naming Indiana, this town, Kokomo.
well, yeah. So when he says like, "Oh, I'm from Kokomo," I was like, "That's a weird place. Wouldn't you want your character to be from like a nowhere place?" And then I looked it up. I was like, "Oh my god, he is from a nowhere place." What were the Beach Boys thinking? A bunch of
Because
liars.
it rhymes.
I
Does it rhyme?
Bermuda, Bahama, come on,
Pretty
pretty
Mama,
mama, Key
Key
Largo,
Largo,
Montego,
Montego,
baby, why
Baby
don't we
When We
go
Go.
down to Kokomo?
Maybe Kokomo's not even a beach in the Florida
But they
Keys?
couldn't even remember. They couldn't rhyme anything other than "Why don't we go?" So they had to come up with Kokomo. They had to put Kokomo in there. Come on, you could have done something else, Beach Boys.
I just think of the Muppets singing it.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, love Danny. Scott Bakula is really interesting in this, kind of like how you mentioned Hercules. Who plays Hercules from the OC?
Yes. Oh, Tate Donovan.
Yeah, Tate
Jimmy
Donovan.
Cooper.
Yeah, Tate. I feel the same way about finding out that Tate Donovan voiced Hercules. Because when I look at Tate Donovan, I don't think of like this, I don't know, Hercules.
Yeah.
Scott Bakula, I know from Quantum Leap. Did you ever watch Quantum Leap?
No.
Really cool show. Scott Bakula, Dean Stockwell. Each episode, he like inhabits the body of another person throughout time. Really cool show. Him here, he's like talking like a little higher and very excited, and never would have thought that this was Scott Bakula. And he does his own singing.
Yeah, a lot of the characters have separate singing voices than their
Yeah.
speaking voices. I like Danny, and Scott Bakula's doing a fine job.
Mm-hmm.
He's not my favorite, though.
He's not my favorite, and like I don't know, like he's so wide-eyed. Like and he doesn't really see how it is, and I guess he has to be that way, but I don't know, there's just something about Danny. I wish that there was like a little bit more edge to him.
I agree. And this might negate the whole movie, but maybe you will fill in some parts I'm missing here.
Mm-hmm.
Danny goes to Hollywood because he wants to make it big, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it's under the assumption you're going to Hollywood because you've seen movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you not seeing animals in movies and you're thinking, oh, I could do what they do, and I don't understand that there's a stigma against animals or only animals in movies? Or does he think he can change the narrative because he's so good?
Right. Yeah, I don't think so, because he's very blindsided by the reality. When they see King Kong, he's like, wow, he doesn't realize that King Kong is only allowed to play King Kong because it's a stereotype of gorillas,
Right.
And the movie's doing this whole thing of animals are black people, basically.
Yep.
And the movie is about the racism of early Hollywood, which again, taken into consideration, like the whole Ted Turner film preservation, it's kind of wild that they got away with this. And that they were that it's so at the forefront. It's not like a kind of brushed away scene or mention. Like it's what the whole movie is about. So yeah, he doesn't seem to understand that that's how it works. He thinks he's going to be like a song and dance man.
Yeah. And so when he gets casted in Little Archangel because he's a cat, not because of his talent, and we get to shooting day, and everyone's like, you're going to stay in line and stay in line, do what you're told. Your line is meow.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like disregarding it. He goes off script. He's like, he has to belt out meow, meow, meow.
Yeah.
And there's repercussions to that. How did you feel when this happened? Do you have an opinion on this? Because I am in the camp of like, you have to shoot your shot, but also maybe know your place and maybe shoot your shot not on your first day in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all of that, 100%.
Right?
Like practically, you're on this huge production with, hundreds of people and different actors, and you have the star of the movie, and you're literally you're literally doing like the run and slide on your knees and open your arms thing, like in front of her while she's delivering her line.
Right, it's rude.
Yeah, there's not a good way to make it big, but you gotta shoot your shot.
Yeah, and you do need this character because he's the one who reinvigorates his new pals
Right.
into they feel like down and out, right? Like
Right, because they've been through it.
this is all that's offered to us. We
Hmm.
have no other choice. I love this is my favorite scene in the movie when he inspires his friends to sing and dance.
It's pretty great.
And they're all muted colors and they start singing
Mhm.
its Technicolor. That was
Mhm.
great. That was
Yep.
very well done. That was during the Animal Jam song.
Yep. The goat, there's a picture, there's a photo of, I think it might be the goat and the fish.
Yes,
And
Cranston
they're
and
doing
Francis.
like a flamenco type dance thing, right? And so you see, oh, they also came here with talent, and their
Mhm.
talent has been totally, disregarded. Danny at one point says, I thought that Hollywood was always looking for new talent. And then this might be the bus driver scene,
Yeah.
which is my favorite scene.
Mm.
And he says, yes, not animal talent.
Yeah.
though. And so Danny doesn't see a distinction. He's like, talent is talent. Doesn't matter who has it. But Hollywood doesn't want talent from certain people. And so all of these characters, they're just kind of like, yeah, all right, kid, like, good for you, that you have dreams. We did too.
Did you
And
have
that's tough. That's tough as a young person. And I know we've spoken about this before. When you're a young person coming into a company and you want to do things and accomplish things, and all the older people are like, ugh, here we go.
Mhm. Did you hear about the Nathan Fielder thing?
I've avoided it because I'm not caught up on the series.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll put a fork in that. Nope.
Okay.
Fork?
Put a fork in it. He's
That's
gone.
not right.
Yeah.
That's not right.
A pin in it.
A pin in it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking my mind went to an Entenmann's cake and how
Oh,
there's
God.
always just a fork in that box. Put a fork in the Entenmann's cake and you'll get to it later.
Send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Did your family leave a fork in the Entenmann's box growing up? If you don't know what Entenmann's are, it's a cake company.
This was also a topic I put for our Wake Up with Movie Friends.
Entenmann's?
Yeah, like call us, tell us your Entenmann's story. What was your favorite Entenmann's cake?
I want Entenmann's so bad now. I'm going to have to leave when we're done and go to the store and get something.
There's so much to talk about when it comes to
Oh my
Entenmann's.
God.
Anyway, did you have a favorite side character? And who do you think was the most talented?
I mean, the elephant dude, John Rice
Wooly?
Davies, yeah, as this great piano player. He was great. I love the scene in his trailer where he's explaining, how it really is. Pudge is a penguin, though. It's got to be my favorite.
Did you read how they found the actor to voice Pudge?
No.
Mark Dindal was out, and this little boy came up to him and one of the other producers and asked for directions. And so they gave it to him, and then he walked away, and they were like, "That's Pudge!" And so they're like,
No
"Hey,
way.
kid, have you ever acted before?" And he was like, "No." And then he got put into this movie, and that started his career.
That's amazing.
Isn't that great?
That's like something you and I would do.
Yes, absolutely.
Grab that kid, quick.
He's perfect. He's our Pudge.
I just want to note here, Peebo, Pudge's full name
Yes.
is Peebo Pudge Pudgemeyer, the penguin.
It's perfect.
It's pretty perfect. Yeah, I was a big fan of Chilly Willy growing up. I don't know if you remember Chilly Willy.
Sure.
Yeah. That was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, and Hanna-Barbera was acquired by Turner, and so all that kind of got wrapped into one, and they're doing homages to old characters. And they said at the time that Disney was kind of moving away from talking animals, which is weird because The Lion King had come out in 1994.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they wanted to go back to like Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse and that kind of throwback. So Pudge just reminded me of Chili Willy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
My favorite is probably Frances the fish.
Mm-hmm.
She's so sassy, and I think she's got great dance moves.
Mm-hmm.
I love her puns.
Mm-hmm.
She's just so funny. And then, Tilly, the hippo,
Mm-hmm.
who's just so that's probably the personality I would be, is just trying to cheer everyone up.
Kathy
The
Najim
Jimmy.
Najimy. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh I I didn't put this together, but in my reading about this movie, someone mentioned they were like, "Have you noticed that the fish in this looks like Yzma from
Mhm.
Emperor's New Groove?" That's because Mark Dindal directed both. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't put that together." I mean,
Yeah.
what a 1-2 combo.
I
Cats
know.
Don't Dance and Emperor's New Groove.
Emmer's New Groove is so good.
It is so good. And it's kind of similar to this movie in that it had a lot of iterations and a lot. I mean, listening to them talk about this, they were like, we had 6 or 8 different executives over them over the course of making Cats Don't Dance.
I know.
And Mark Dindal said, he was like, the way that I handled them was patience. He's like, I just didn't really, he was like, if they had suggestions or whatever, I just waited and more than likely they were gone before it was time to implement them,
Yeah.
which is pretty funny.
It'll work itself out.
Mm-hmm,
Just give it
mm-hmm.
time. So to go back to Sawyer, our other cat,
Love Sawyer.
she's
I think Sawyer is
so
my favorite.
great.
Yeah.
I love Sawyer's fashion.
Sawyer's fat. It's very Katharine Hepburn.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love how sophisticated she is and elegant. And even at the end, when, not to jump to the end, but with Danny, she gives him back his list. He has this list of scheduled to stardom. It is very funny because it's like Monday, it's like arrive. Tuesday, it's like
Right.
get an agent. Wednesday, get casted. Go to a premiere. And then she adds get the girl to it. And that wasn't on the list. And I just love
Mm-hmm.
that she like put herself forward.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed her, and her song Tell Me Lies was really good too.
Yeah. Yeah. I love her. Like, I almost wish the movie was more about her and Danny than like the whole cast of everyone, because I just wish there was more time with Sawyer. I thought she was great.
Yeah. Our villain, Darla Dimple,
Yeah.
inspired by Shirley Temple,
Mm-hmm.
she hates children and animals,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know why she hates animals.
Yeah, maybe it was something that got lost in the long production, but
Right. Like that's like my one thing with this movie is like I wish it was just a little bit longer, and I wish we just had like a quick flashback of like what animal hurt you,
right.
because it's she, obviously she doesn't want the fame and the limelight to be stolen from her. But it's not like animals are being celebrated in Hollywood at this point.
Right.
So
Right.
why
Right.
she's threatened, I guess it's any kind of attention that
Well, again, the movie's about racism, so that explains why she hates animals,
that's true.
you know?
But we could have seen
Right, right. And it's the
it.
old saying, never work with kids and animals. So,
Right. I do love her and how she is drawn, and I love that her knees are just little squiggles.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's pretty great. But to me, she's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
She's a good villain.
Yeah.
I don't love that she's obviously Shirley Temple.
Yeah, because Shirley doesn't have that reputation.
No, and Shirley Temple had like a really hard time in Hollywood as a kid, and I think they said she made how many movies? 10 movies before no, 20 something movies before she was 10 or something crazy like that. She had a really, really hard time. And, if she was a little difficult, I don't think, and I'm saying if with big quotes around it, if Shirley Temple was difficult, I don't think anyone could blame her because she was a child who was being completely taken advantage of, you know, I read a thing where she said if kid actors acted up on set, that they had to sit on an ice block in an isolated audio booth on the stage.
Wow.
So, pretty
Yeah.
wild. So that they chose to like go this direction with it, I was like, oh, it's kind of like kicking someone while they're down a little bit. But the character of Darla Dimple is very funny and is very menacing. Like, she's actually scary.
Did you like her as a villain?
Yeah, she's great. She's
Do
a
you
great
have a
villain.
problem with a kid being a villain?
No, more kids should be villains. They are villains in real life.
That wa that was another thing that came up. People saying it was, like, hard to watch a kid to be a villain. It it's hard to hate a kid. I'm like, "These are cartoons?"
Yeah,
Also,
this
like,
isn't
Angelica was a
real.
brat, you
Yeah,
know?
Angelica was a brat. Yeah.
I never even thought it's
It's
interesting how you
hard.
didn't think about things and then you read and it's like, "Why did I don't even want that thought in my head because I didn't come to that on my own."
Yeah,
You
folks, that's why you have to have trusted
know?
movie friends on your side.
Well,
Because
sure.
when you just open yourself up to the masses and what they think about movies, as we do every week, pouring through 5-star and 3-star reviews, it's like, what movie did you watch? And how did you watch it? Because,
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I'm not like praying for Darla Dimple to be crucified or shot by a firing squad. Like, it's not like the movie does that or goes to any of those places. It's just like, hey, this kid sucks. Like,
We do
but Darla, I think, has the second best number, Big and Loud,
It's very good.
and it has two different stages to it. One where it's kind of like positive, and then second where it's like, oh my god, this is really, really. I mean, I would love to see a production of Big and Loud on a Broadway stage.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, huh, I think Big and Loud is the strongest number in this
Hmm.
movie. All the other songs, like, again, I watched this as a kid. It wasn't really one that I rewatched all the time, so this music wasn't something that I listened to. And so after watching it over the weekend, afterwards, I was like, I remember the songs and how I felt during the parts,
Hmm.
but could I tell you a line or really I couldn't, except Big and Loud.
I would agree. I would agree, like ish. This is Randy Newman coming off of Toy Story,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, I don't think that the songs are the best part of the movie. But I think that while they're happening, they're good.
Yeah, but you just don't remember them after.
Yeah. Yeah, like Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now is good. Our Time Has Come is also good. Yeah, but I think that that's okay. And we
Mhm.
haven't even mentioned this yet, but my God, this movie's 75 minutes.
Yeah.
So who cares?
Oh, no, I know, it's short and sweet.
It's amazing how much more forgiving I will be of something when it's short.
Or, I mean, would you even put into or take into the fact that it's animated? It's a kids movie?
Well, for me, I watch a lot of kids movies. I'm on my way to being, I think, the foremost thought leader in children's animation films
Wow.
because I have kids and I have to watch movies that are kid movies. And so I've just seen so many of them at this point. And so my bar for kids movies is so low that when I see something like Cats Don't Dance, I'm like, this is a miracle. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah. Interesting. Did your kids like this one?
Yeah, they thought it was great.
Good. So Danny goes to talk to Darla, because she proposes that, "Hey, I can help you get in front of the studio head."
Hmm.
So they have this conversation, and obviously this is all planned for her to not get them to have the conversation in front of the studio head. And Danny is so excited. He's so naive. And I just couldn't help but laugh because like here's like the joy and of animation. But essentially during this press conference, behind the scenes, she floods the studio.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, complete so much water to the point where it, like, floods into even the business portion of
Mm-hmm.
Mammoth Studios. I thought that was very entertaining because, of course, like, the next day, everything is good. Obviously, the animals are now banned because how
Right.
dare this
Right.
happen? But, like, in terms of actual, uh, physical damage, no problem.
It's funny too because the movie is, little archangel, little
Little
archangel or
Archangel.
whatever,
Yeah,
and Darla on screen is playing the savior of these arc animals.
yeah.
Where really behind the scenes she's actually trying to like murder everyone using the same arc, which is definitely something that would have gone over my head as a child. Of like, hey, here's this movie star and they're pretending to be one thing, but it's actually like the system, the studio system that's used to like keep people down, because the only way to the top is through them. And so that's, for a kids movie, that's a pretty wild like image to give them, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. And so Danny goes to leave and he gets on the bus, which is your favorite scene.
Hmm.
Why did you love this so much? Because this was the reality talk?
Yeah. So I do have to make a correction. That quote that I said earlier, I thought Hollywood was always looking for new talent. That was with the elephant dude.
Wooly.
Yeah.
Got it.
He
Okay.
says, talented people, not animals. The spotlight will never be on fellows like you and me, and it's
Yes.
foolish to think otherwise, Danny.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. The scene with the bus driver is, again, insane to me to put into a kids movie. Not that I don't think that it should, but just that it made it through, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna really really do this. I just want to read some of it if I can.
Yeah, please.
I also found it interesting that it's a really important scene, but it's kind of it's a transitionary scene. It's downplayed, it's downbeat. It's not it's not Darla giving a huge monologue, you know, uh, whatever. So the bus driver is talking to Danny. It's just him and Danny, and he says, "What a bunch of noodle heads. No offense, I'm not calling you a noodle head." And that's something that happens throughout the whole movie. Is they'll keep saying, "Oh, this place is a pigsty. No offense to the
Right.
pig," or
Yep.
"Oh, there's a rat. No
No
offense to
offense.
the rat." Right, and that phrase is used over and over and over and over again, which is very interesting. So here you got a bus driver who's basically like, "Oh, these animals thought that they could be stars." He calls them, a slur, and then he says, "No, I'm not talking about you, but them." Now, this is directly what the movie is saying. And now take yourself out of Cats Don't Dance and imagine that this is just someone talking about minority groups, whether that be Black people or Cubans or Mexicans or whatever, trying to break into show business. He says, "It's just that they don't belong in pictures. They belong back on the farm. Look at them out there. They have no future. What am I telling you for? You're going home. You know your place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know my place. It's here, driving the bus." Like, God bless these people for putting this here
Yeah.
in this movie. And you have a guy who, he is a human, right? And so he's part of the people group who are superior and they're allowed to be stars. But even he's saying, I know my place, and my place isn't, like, this is reserved for special, special, special people. And you and I are not it. And if you don't know your place, then you're a noodlehead.
Right.
That's a great message to show little kids, and just
Absolutely.
how wrong he is. And then uh yeah, that's when Danny's like, stop the bus.
Yeah, and he sees Pudge.
Yep.
Yeah. I know it is a powerful scene. And do you think did you talk to your kids about this scene? Well, I don't know if you talked to Teddy about it, but Job,
Yeah, my older kid, I was like, hey,
do
this
you
movie's
get
about
it?
racism, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Danny gets inspired and he sends out invites to Darla's little archangel premiere.
Yeah.
And so he invites everyone, and everyone at this point wants nothing to do with Danny because now they are banned. And also they can't believe that Danny fell for what Darla would say, which again, I'm like, Danny is so naive. He has no idea. He's new to
Yeah.
Hollywood. How would he know? Right. But
Right.
anyway, so they all go to the premiere, and his plan is after the movie is finished, him and his buddies will perform for the audience and prove and show what animals can do. And I thought this was really well done. I liked this scene. It's predictable. You kind of know where it's going. Darla admits by accident to what she's done, flooding and trying to get rid of the animals. And like you said, that we don't kill her, there's no violence towards her. What we see happen to her is she becomes a janitor.
Right. Pasting up the posters.
I mean, I guess Max, who we didn't speak about, that is Darla's butler, valet.
Yeah.
He floats away. I don't really know what
but he
happens
was
to him.
violent, and
He was violent.
Yeah.
I liked Max, though.
Yeah. This ending, it's very Singing in the Rain.
Yes.
Where we end with like revealing Lena Lamont's real voice.
Yep.
And she's like, hey! But this time around, it's Darla's real voice, and that she's actually like an evil, sinister person. And
yes.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And the scene that you were talking about earlier, where they're all going into Technicolor, you don't even realize that they're in muted colors until their colors start to like pop. And what I love about that is that they're not just popping when they're performing on a stage or in a film. They're popping just when they're being creative. And even Sawyer is just like typing at the typewriter. And when she starts to type in rhythm, her colors pop. And I thought that was also a good thing to show kids. It's like, it's not about being on stage or being behind the camera. It's just about expressing yourself and like being true to yourself.
Yeah.
So when they get to do it here, now on stage, it's even better.
Yeah. And I do love the ending. We get to see a montage of vintage film posters that our friends are now starring in or have starred in. Which one was your favorite?
One of them made me tear up a little bit.
It did.
Yes, the Superman one with the turtle. Because the tagline for the original Superman film was "You will believe a man can fly," and this one they just changed it to "You will believe a turtle can fly."
Who's Don Knotts, by the way?
Don Knotts. Who he does get the great line, they can smash your cookie, but you always have your fortune.
Yeah.
I loved that the posters aren't changed. So just to get a little bit of Disney dig in, Zootopia rips this movie off 100%. And I think they actually do it worse. They do the allegory worse. Zootopia may as well be called Rabbits Don't Fight Crime. And in Zootopia, there's all of these like they'll take there's a scene where someone's selling bootleg DVDs, and they don't call the movie Superman. They would, in Zootopia world, it would have been called like Turtle Man or something, right? Or Super Turtle. But what I love about this is that they don't change almost anything about the posters. They keep all the same titles. And so it shows how like, hey, if minorities had been accepted and allowed to participate according to their talent, this would have been the history that we would have had. And that was very touching to me.
Yeah, and I like the movies that they chose. My favorite was seeing Grumpy Old Men. That's one of my favorite movies from childhood.
Because they would have, if this is 1939, then yeah, they would have been old
Yeah.
animals
Yes.
at the time when Grumpy Old Man was made.
Yeah. It was good. The only one they changed was, I mean, I guess that's fine, but Free Tilly
Right.
instead of Free Willy.
Yeah. But for the most part, they're all the same.
They're all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get, after this quick run through film history through all these posters, you get dedicated to our friend and collaborator, Gene Kelly.
Wow.
Yeah. And the first time I watched this, I was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
It's like a fun little nugget.
Yeah.
I just wanted to read this quote from Mark Dindal just to wrap up our discussion.
Sure.
I like to think that we've kind of tipped our hats to the best of both worlds with Cats Don't Dance. It's an homage to the past, but created with the talents of the present and technology of the future. And the message, giving everyone a chance to be his or her best by pursuing what they truly love, is timeless.
Yep. Absolutely.
Which I thought was
Yeah.
really well said.
Yeah, and this is hand-drawn animation, but they're also utilizing 3D animation. And there is like a sweet spot for 3D animation
Yes.
that I think they hit perfectly, where there's just cool little bits, but I don't feel the, what's the word? Limitations of the technology. Like, I feel like they didn't push the technology past a point where it looked bad.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of when I feel that. I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, I would give the example of, let's say, did you ever watch Reboot, the TV show?
No.
So Reboot was a computer animated TV show, started in 1994.
That mom looks very familiar.
It was big. It was a big, like Saturday morning cartoon kind of a show. It told a continuing story, but anyway, I'll just say, like, they were pushing the max of what computer animation could do at the time, and it didn't always look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the budget for this movie was $32 million.
Jeez.
And it made $3.5 million at the box office.
That's disgusting.
Which Seth and I were talking about this earlier, and I was asking him, like, is this the biggest flop we've ever covered, box office wise?
Yeah, I would have to look and crunch the numbers. So that's 10% of its budget, basically. So we'd have to look and see if we've done anything else that did quite the same.
This has a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, 3.6 on Letterboxd.
Okay.
62 on Metacritic.
Okay.
And our boy Ebert gave it 3 stars.
Good. Hey, good for him.
Isn't that great?
That's 75%. That's higher than Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic.
I know.
Those both seem really low.
You think so? I thought that seemed pretty good.
What did you say on Rotten Tomatoes?
71.
Yeah, I mean, what's to not like about this movie? It's 75 minutes long.
Because the cats do dance.
Oh my God.
Seth, come on now. I want to hear your happies and crappies.
It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies.
All right, so my happy is very nerdy, but it's like, I love that there's a movie for kids about old Hollywood that is also trying to do the style of the animation of the time and also has a bunch of old Hollywood references. Like, I actually wrote down every movie and actor reference as I went, and I'm not going to read it for you here, but it's great. It's great that this exists for kids. And yeah. And then my crappy is, it's a light crappy, like really, really light. But I'm really torn on Scott Bakula as Danny. Like, it's very impressive that he does his own singing. I think that that's great. And it might not be Scott Bakula. I mean, it should be how the character's written. But like, he's very, very earnest. I don't know if Scott Bakula is charismatic enough to pull this lead.
Oh, interesting.
I need Danny. I just feel like Danny's one note and the other characters aren't.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe that's why he's not my favorite.
yeah.
But also, like you said, this is a quick, short movie.
It's a quick move. Yeah.
And
That's
really,
why it's a light crappy.
Right. We're experiencing these characters' lives in what, 4 days? That's it. Just like a 4-day glimpse into what they've experienced.
Yeah.
So, how much range are we really going to get from Danny the cat?
What about you?
Yeah, my happy is when Max shakes his hips during the Animal Jam scene and Darla catches him. Like, how dare you? And he's like, I can't help it, but the music's just so good. And my crappy, I just wish maybe this was a little bit longer and we had a little bit more background or on Darla the way she is. Like, I understand what we're getting at, but I think we could have seen it visually and more with Sawyer.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with all of that.
Yeah. All right. What are our friends on the internet saying about Cats Don't Dance?
Not a ton.
No?
Jamila at Wildcat Tin Wow said, "What took you so long?"
Oh.
And I responded, "A cat movie about movies. It is really astounding that it didn't happen sooner."
I know, right?
And I think I said to you, or maybe I said in the Discord, is this the most like cat-centric movie that we've done?
The thing is, right? Like, I don't really view this as cat-centric. Yes, the title is Cats Don't Dance. Yes, it stars 2 cats, but the overall message, this isn't really about cats. I will say, though, this is definitely an unexpected cat.
Definitely?
Our overall, I did not think we were going to do Cats Don't Dance up until...
Oh, you mean the whole movie? Oh, yeah.
The whole movie is an unexpected cat, as we
Got
like to shout them out on our show.
Electric Headspace at ArcENTEL says, an absolute masterpiece that there is truly way too many positive things to say about, from the standout performances by Scott Bakula and Jasmine Guy, but also its genius references to Golden Age Hollywood, and also shout out to the song Our Time Is Now by James Ingram.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And yeah, like as I was writing down my happy, or I was like I said to you, I was like, what about this is not good? There are too many kind of good things to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
Official webmaster John Butter at the John Butter says, I watched this movie anytime it aired on Cartoon Network as a kid. It was great. Scott Bakula solves animal racism and defeats Shirley Temple.
Thanks, John Butter. Well, thanks, friends. Let's go to our segment where we hear from people that we don't know. It's called Half Star, 3-Star, 5-Star. Half-star, 3-star, 5-star. These are reviews from letterboxd.com, which is an app and a website where you can log, rate, and review movies. We start with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating you can give a movie, and we go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest rating you can give a movie. There are over 2,900 reviews for Cats Don't Dance on Letterboxd, only 6 half-star reviews.
Wowee, that's one of the lowest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been around the 6-ish range before.
Yeah.
But that's good.
But Seth, as always, is going to read our half-star review, usually in an accent. What do you feel like doing? Do you want to sing it in your ghost that we met at the top of the show?
Is there an old Hollywood accent that I can do?
I feel like it's always like, yeah, so you're going to be in the pictures.
Yeah.
What is that? Who is that? Why is that always the voice that I go to?
I could do, how about this? I'll read it as a cat.
Are you going to meow the whole time?
No, I can't do that the whole time.
No.
That's wild. I'll do it as Homer Simpson. No, I can't do Homer Simpson.
I was like, wow, you can do Homer?
Hey, man, I'm Bart Simpson.
Don't have a cow, man.
Do you have to pinch your nose for Bart? Or is that too nasally now?
I don't know. Let me hear it.
Hey, man, I'm Bart Simpson.
Here's the cheap version of Bart Simpson.
Eat my shorts. Oh, no, wait, that's Ralph Wiggum.
Yeah.
I'm Ralph. What does Ralph Wiggum say? Oh,
Um,
me fail English? That's impossible. The whole movie undermines a cat's ability to dance. Danny is doubted the entire time. Where is the union for these animals? How are they represented? Animals barred from providing for their families, not being considered for lead roles while the humans reap the rewards? Good on Danny working towards a better tomorrow for his fellow animal. Wouldn't recommend it to even the closest of friends. Not enough inclusion for the animals. The movie should have been titled Cats Can Dance. Don't doubt them. Avoid in full, not in parts. Wow.
thank you.
That was.
All over the place a little bit. Like they're complimenting Danny.
Where is the union for these animals? All right, look, we are a non judgmental show. You know, we're pulling these reviews. But I just got to say what I said at the top of the show. What movie are you people watching and how are you watching them? You're trying to pull apart. All right, whatever.
Avoid in full, not in parts.
I like that idea because they say that they wouldn't recommend it even to their closest of friends.
Yeah.
So does this person say, okay, watch this movie, but then at 13 minutes, skip ahead to 47 minutes?
Yeah.
You can avoid this one in parts.
In parts. 3-star review. Whoever drew Max needs some sort of raise. If I had seen him as a child, I'd be terrified of him. This was very cute, but if some dumbass cat was singing over a movie I was starring in, I'd take every chance to kill his career too.
Yeah.
5-star review says, arguably the best non-Disney animated film ever. It tackles some serious themes and contains parallels to social inequalities and discrimination that was prevalent in the early 40s, 50s Hollywood. I've seen this movie more than I'm prepared to admit, but it was always a movie that has stuck with me ever since my first viewing. The soundtrack is also one of the best I've ever heard in an animated movie. A must watch if you like animated movies with a great message.
Nice.
Yeah, that was one
Why
of
why would
the
they why would they be
best.
so afraid to admit how many times they've seen it?
I don't know. That saying's always interesting when it's attached to a piece of media. I'm like,
Who
just
cares?
own what you watch, what you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. I've seen Clifford 100 times easily in my
Well,
life.
you probably don't consider that as your quote unquote guilty pleasure.
No, as I've said, I have no guilty pleasures.
Right.
I do not feel guilt with pleasure.
I know. Same. I don't
No offense to, our new pope, but I wasn't raised Catholic, so I I think that good things are, I don't know, good.
Right. We rate a movie as a schmovie, movie, or film. We also rate it 1 to 5 stars, give our final thoughts and recommendations. Seth, why don't you go first? And what I mean by that is I'm going to tell you what I wrote down for you. Okay.
Yep.
So I guessed that you were going to rate Cats Don't Dance a 3-star movie.
Ooh. So when I watched this originally, I rated this a 3.5.
Wow.
And then after rewatching it and like really focusing on it, this is a 4-star movie. Maybe
Whoa.
even a 4.5-star movie.
Get out of here.
But this is definitely a solid 4-star movie. I don't agree with the 5-star review that says this is what did they say? Undoubtedly the best animated non-Disney. Are we forgetting about Studio Ghibli entirely? Like, come on, let's think clearly here, folks.
Well,
come on.
We don't judge.
No, we don't judge, but I'm just saying, like, this isn't that. This doesn't hold a candle, quite frankly, to maybe any of the Studio Ghibli films. It's a totally different type of movie.
Yes, agreed.
So I'm not like throwing the baby out with the bathwater and ready to declare Cats Don't Dance like the greatest thing of all time. But I love the attitude behind it. That was like, hey, we're not Disney and we're going to do something totally different. It's such a shame that Turner Animation only turned out 2 movies. The Page Master, I actually rewatched.
Did you?
Late last night because it's also pretty quick,
Yeah.
pretty breezy. I was trying to get my whole Turner context going here. So it's a real shame that this studio turned out these two movies and then disappeared
I know, and also
into the
just,
fold of corporate
you know,
purchases.
right, and because of the merger, Cats Don't Dance really suffered. Poor
Yeah.
merchandising, poor advertising, just
Yeah.
nope.
So yeah, 4-star movie. Watch it, rewatch it, and show your kids this movie. Definitely instead of Disney movies. And it becomes a much more fun movie after you have seen a bunch of movies because you see all these different references to things.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for you, I wrote down 4-star movie.
Wow. It's a 3.5 for me.
Okay.
It's a 3.5, which still means it's a good movie. I'm definitely recommending this. I think maybe it's missing, like, there's not a lot of negatives to it, like you said, but the music part of it doesn't stay with me, doesn't have that lasting power for me personally.
Yeah.
And because this wasn't a movie that I rewatched all the time, I'm not tied to nostalgia to it.
Right.
However, the subject matter I very much enjoy because I'm very into old Hollywood, learning about it. I was very drawn to that part as a kid
Mhm.
and the themes that are being expressed here. So I definitely would recommend you watch this one if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Kids or no kids, it's 75 minutes.
Kids are no well, right.
Throw it on.
Exactly.
The whole thing is on YouTube right now.
That's how I watched it.
Yeah.
All right. Does this movie pass the Seth Shell test? The movie must contain something tangible that is impressive, whether choreography, production design, or practical effect, and it must have a runtime that is justified by its content. What do you think, Seth?
Yeah, this is both for me. We mentioned Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly was not dancing by the time they brought him on, but he did help with the choreography. Some of the choreography is great, and they they don't play the cartoon characters like Bugs Bunny or Looney Tunes. For the most part, they're just walking around. Yes, some people get hurt way beyond what's possible. At one point, Danny jumps into his own hat
Mm-hmm.
and then comes out. Those are cool. Like they use the choreography being done by cats. They use the fact that the choreography is being done by cartoons very sparingly, if you ask me. And so they're really dancing. So I think that that's great. Like I mentioned earlier, the whole 3D animation is used perfectly here. And yeah, it's 75 minutes, so it's great. So this is a yes for both for me.
Yeah, this is also a yes, both for me as well. The runtime is perfect, even though I said I wanted longer. But for what this is, the runtime is good, and the fact that Gene Kelly was a part of this is pretty special.
Another movie that Gene Kelly was a part of that I would love to do on this show sometime is a movie called Xanadu. Have you seen Xanadu?
Have I seen Xanadu?
Xan.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. This is somewhere deep in the brain. So pretty much that means I haven't seen it because it's in there. That's why I was like, wait a minute. From 1980?
Yeah, the poster would make you think that this is about like a sci-fi futuristic world, it's not.
Yeah.
It's about people turning like an old warehouse into a roller skating
Yeah, and it has
dance club.
Olivia Newton-John in it.
I love this movie so much. Anyway, send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if you love Xanadu.
Or if you Xana don't.
Yeah. Hey, and if you Xana don't love this show, or if you Xana do love this show, please give us a rating and a review wherever you're listening. It really helps the show. And, it gives Michelle and I something to talk about. Michelle and I don't talk unless it's about this show. If she tries to send me a picture of a cat, I block the number.
I wanna piggyback off of that. So much so, I know like nothing about Seth.
What? What are you talking about?
I was making my bed today, and why this came out, I was like, I don't know Seth's favorite color.
Purple.
Purple?
Purple.
Wow.
One of the places we lived, I actually painted the living room purple because I wanted to have a purple room. Favorite color, hands down.
That's the Thursday Cruise color.
Hmm.
I couldn't remember your middle name, and all I could think about was Rickard, which I know that's not it.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it. I was like, this person that I do a show with, I actually know very little about.
I just like talking about the movies.
So that's why you need to leave us a review or send us an email, because Seth and I truly don't know anything about each other.
Send us an email, leave us a review that says, ask us a question or something. I don't know, whatever.
I almost thought about bringing a new segment on the show for the end of the episode and be like, Seth and Michelle learn about each other. And I would ask you one question every week just so I could like start building my folder about you. Because I'm like, oh, all I know is Seth,
Yeah, the
likes
other
movies.
day, Michelle texted me, who's your favorite director? I feel like I should know that. And I was like, nobody cares or should know that.
But we're friends, right? I mean, I look at you as a friend and not just my co-host.
Well, of course, yeah.
But that's me coming on too strong again.
Can you imagine if you showed up to a party and I was there and you were like, Seth, and I was like, I don't recognize you. You look really tired today.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yes, please send us an email, ask us a question, let us know. Hey, if you listen to this show and you watched a movie because of us, let us know. We are but very insecure podcast hosts.
Very insecure.
You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to our patron-only Discord. You also get to vote on upcoming movies each month, monthly themes. You get ad-free episodes. You get access to all of our bonus episodes and series. And you get added to Michelle's Inner Circle, where you get to decode the secret message at the end of every episode. And if you've been listening and you've heard me say that and you're like, what does that even mean? Basically, I have written an ongoing interactive story that each week reveals another clue.
Do you ever by accident just keep the episode going and you hear 5, 7,
right? Yeah.
20.
Yeah. If you don't listen to the end, listen to the end today and be like, I gotta get on this. And hey, it's not too late, folks. So yeah, that's patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. And just a reminder, do not sign up through the Patreon app if you are an Apple user, because they will charge you more money. Go to patreon.com, sign up that way, and then log in through your phone.
Helpful tip.
All right. Speaking of signing up for Patreon and our patrons, next week's episode, which I just want to say, great job on Cats Don't Dance. I know you can't take full credit for it, but so far our month on movies, which another shout out to a patron, Kate. The naming for this month has been a little sloppy.
It's tough. It's a little tough though.
Do you know what she said?
What?
Meta month. And I was like, Kate, this is why everything should be run by you, you know?
Kate is one with the word.
Correct. Yes. So I've loved this spread so far for this month. Ed Wood.
Well, Ed Wood might be my favorite that we've done this year.
It's up there
because it just sent me down so many pathways.
Right.
Yeah.
Cinema Paradiso, and now Cats Don't Dance. This is turning out to be a pretty good month.
I feel like we're doing the theme right in comparison to last month.
We screwed up sports. We're just gonna say it, okay?
We screwed up sports.
Not sports people.
That's what happens.
So much so that we couldn't even make sports movies work.
Well.
Anyway, speaking of being a screw up and not making things work, I sent out the votes a little bit late, so I don't know what next week's episode will be. But I will say everything submitted so far is pretty good.
All right. So we'll live in suspense.
Yep. So you will live in suspense, listeners, until next week.
Darn. When will we find out?
Oh, you and I will find out. So the submission deadline was today at 5. So when we hop off, I'm going to send out the votes.
Okay.
Well, anyway, hey, thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you to Emily for really putting this movie back into my head.
Thanks, Emily. And hey, thank you for listening. And remember, folks, they can smash your cookie, but you'll always have your fortune. Till next time, thank you for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.
Incoming. Message incoming. Message to Michelle's inner circle. Remember, kids, only Michelle's inner circle can decipher this week's message. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Message number 18. 66, 74, 73, 57, 68, 44, 73, 60, 82, 55, 43, 46, 47, 64, 55, 90, 54, 74, 52, 74, 75, 77, 53, 80, 53, 56, 63, 46, 55, 77.
Michelle is counting on you. Do not let her down.